we will be going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. It is currently, gosh, I forgot to have my weather pulled up. It's currently 74 degrees outside with a high of 95 today, which is surprising considering we've got this little cold front blowing through right now by the looks of it. So potentially could have some rain here in a little bit, but it's not predicted to rain today. So just be advised, it's a little windy and feels pretty nice out this morning, but it will get hot this afternoon, so be prepared for that. Now, with that being said, traffic conditions going in Tulsa are like non-existent. So if you have not left for your commute in, it's looking pretty good for you. So enjoy your trip in. Now, local news, not a whole lot going on still. The calendar's pretty clear, but that's because, I think school's getting ready to start back up. So everything is all pre-planning and people getting stuff ready for back to school. So get ready for that. But with that being said, we're going to jump right into our topic today, which is national news. And I'm sure we're not the first to party on this, but this is got some pretty crazy stuff going on in Europe right now, specifically the UK. So the UK looks like it's on fire right now, and we'll just put it this way. They're not recording immigrant crimes. Immigrants do not get convicted. Like, I think I saw a thing where a guy was a counter-protester who was protesting Islamic immigration into Europe was sentenced to like 15 years, and a guy who was charged with assaulting kids and stabbing was only given 180 hours. So we live in strange times where there's a two-tier justice system for citizens. If you're a citizen and you were born in a country, you are held to a higher standard, and your replacement population being sent in is not being. I mean, again, they don't even record. So if you are Islamic, if you are a Muslim, somebody from the Middle East, they don't even in the UK they don't even record statistics under Middle Eastern or Arabic. They record it under Asian. So, it's like, oh, a bunch of people from Hong Kong went around assaulting people in a sexual variety. So they record it as Asian men. It's like, okay, yeah, watch out, all the Koreans are going around attacking people. It's like, no, it's one group of people, and they're from the Middle East. And they have a specific religious ideology, too. That's what we're looking at here. So we'll just go ahead and play a couple of these videos that I saw that a buddy of mine sent me, and we'll just kind of start from here. So whenever you're ready, Chad.
You got it.
What's going on in the UK right now is basically a trailer to what's coming to America if nothing changes. Just in the past week, 19 stabbings, 3 children were killed, 1 bus driver was killed, 1 girl got harassed sexually. In Spain, 3 people's throats were cut as they watched thieves brutally beat a tourist. Sweden, a 14-year-old girl was tortured to DEATA by 2 immigrants, all within a week. You have massive anti-migration protests happening. Cars are being flipped over. It's actual madness in the UK right now. And on the other hand, in the United States, this is in Florida, in Pompano, Florida, a line about a quarter mile long of immigrants getting driver's license. Because all you need to vote is a driver's license. They're hanging up these signs all over Europe saying European lives matter, because if you can't tell, it's almost like they want to replace white people. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but I think you guys need to start noticing that so I don't have to point it out. White people are being replaced. The crime rate's going through the roof by immigrants. The majority of the crime that happens in the United States by immigrants doesn't even get reported because it's political. This reason right here, because they want illegals to be able to vote. What's happening in the UK, the race wars that are happening in the UK are destined to happen in the United States, especially if Kamala Harris gets involved. But a lot of the people that are voting for Kamala care more about being able to kill a baby after having unprotected sex than protecting women from violence from immigrants. What's going on?
There you go. I mean, that's well put by that young man. So, I mean, that's the God's honest truth. And we'll pull up another video here that will kind of expand upon it. Let's
PragerU or Tommy Robinson?
Let's do Tommy Robinson, and then I actually might have you pull up that decoy voice video too.
Okay.
I went to Prague and the girl was going home. I said, no, we'll walk you home. She said, don't be stupid. I said, no, we'll walk you home. You couldn't let a girl walk home in London. You could not leave a female walking home in London, yeah? Not without serious risk. They've took the safety away. It's becoming normalised. Rape is normalised. Violent attacks, and it's by migrant men. I'm sorry, but Muslim men make up 2.5% of the UK population. They are responsible for 90% of the convictions. 90%. In gang rape, 90%. And 30% of the men convicted are called Mohammed. I went to Prague, and the girl was going home. I said, no.
There you go, Tommy Robinson. That's Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson is probably the most hated man in the UK because he's been calling this out since the early 2000s. He was talking about how he doesn't recognize his country anymore back in the early 2000s, and people resented him for it. They hated him for it, but, I mean, he's been proven to be right over time. I mean, his predictions and the things that he said aged well, and the stuff the media said has not.
And, like I said, let's not forget that the movie Taken with Liam Neeson was based off of the reason why he started the English Defense League or whatever it was. That was what?
The underground Islamic human trafficking rings where they would specifically target young white girls.
Exactly. And that's what people don't realize is, like, that's literally what that movie was based off of, was those cases that were being covered up, that were proven to be covered up by the police because the police didn't want to incite any racial hatred. Because at that time, you know, that 9/11 had just happened. I think the London bombing had just gone on near that point in time. So they were trying to, you could argue that maybe they were trying to do it for covering it up for the right reason, for not trying to incite, you know, racial tensions. But the truth,
the underlying problem still remains.
Yeah, the underlying problem still remains. And two, it's like, it's what we talked about the other day, is like their religion preaches that every other religion is second. And
they're like
animals.
Yeah, they're animals. You can be treated as second-class citizens. I mean, again, if you lived in a majority Islamic country and you are not of the Islamic faith, you have to pay a tax to consider be safe. And then eventually, I mean, that you're just paying the mob to just not hurt you, and that you're just you know, it's what did Winston Churchill say? He goes, you know,
appeasement is feeding your friend to the crocodile in hopes that it eats you last.
Yeah, correct. That's what it is when you're dealing with Islam. So it's a very scary. Like, I mean, pull up I guess the next the video of PragerU, and we can watch that real quick. And here's some fantastic Christopher Hitchens. You know, he's no longer with us. He's, God bless his soul, he was an atheist, but, like, I mean, the guy had some fantastic points to be made. But just check this out.
Up or give it to your deadliest enemy and pay for the rope that will choke you. Resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next thing, you will be told you can't complain because you're Islamophobic.
One of the things that is coming up over and over again is Islamophobia. And, well, you can see the stats, you can see the numbers rising. Clearly, we need to just say over and over again, Islamophobia is intolerable. It can never, ever be justified. Wow. And we have to continue with a zero-tolerance approach.
The phobia in Islamophobia is defined as the irrational fear of something. But let's be very clear. There is nothing irrational about opposing the importation of millions of people from cultures that are not compatible with the West. Labels like Islamophobia and racist exist to disarm and bully the West into accepting their own invasion. And unless we realize this, America's going to end up just like the UK, where noticing and complaining about crime is worse than the crime itself.
Give it up or give it to...
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Hitchens called it back then. I mean, that was, what does that say? He was 2009?
2009, yeah.
Yeah, and he was doing it before then, too.
Yeah. Christopher Hitchens has been on this tirade since before he got, like, big.
Yeah, God rest him. But yeah, and why don't you pull up that video by Decoy Voice, and we'll watch a little bit of that before we call it wraps today, because he does a really thorough breakdown of the actual incidents that led up to all this.
This one right here.
Yep.
Okay. Let me actually change a couple of things, and I'll put this on full screen real quick. Let's do full screen. Then we'll do multi-screen. Boom.
Awesome. Hit it.
Massive protests break out all across the country as the
Uh-oh.
Is enough protests marched after a Taylor Swift dance class is attacked, where 10 were slashed, including 3 kids losing their lives.
Wow.
But this sparked a counter-protest of who they are calling the Muslim Patrol. So as hotels that allegedly held migrants were being smashed, the local police attempted to gain control of the British protesters, even beating them with batons. But then the counter-protesters also began beating the British citizens in the streets, including incidents that we can't even see on here. There's an awful lot to unpack as to why they're protesting, how their government seems to only come down on one particular side as if they're genuinely afraid of the other, and most importantly, how their media is actively trying to hide the attacks on its citizens. As the incident that prompted the protests was over this guy, with his face conveniently blurred out by the media, 18 days shy of his 18th birthday, going into a dance class to slash several kids in a horrific attack, where 3 girls aged 6, 7, and 9 tragically lost their lives. But the Daily Mail rushed in to classify the attacker as a quiet schoolboy from a West End musical, headlining an image of him when he was a kid himself, with Sky News using an even younger looking image of him, all omitting
Classic,
the fact that from the
Trayvon
courtroom
Brown
sketch,
crap
he
right
doesn't
there.
even resemble anything like the pictures they're trying to portray him with. And I remember when this incident was first
Trayvon
reported
Martin,
on,
I guess.
the media refused to give any information
Why
as to
does the
who
media
or
always
what the
choose their
attacker
baby
was.
photos?
So people
Yep.
automatically assumed that he was
They're
going to
trying
be a
to
migrant
garner
from
sympathy
a
with the
non-white
picture.
country,
Yeah.
and the media was
Very
just trying to
odd.
get their spin
Very
on it
odd. I
first.
don't like
And it
it.
wasn't entirely true, as he was a second-generation immigrant, but the fact that the media kept headlining the attack, stating he was a Welsh schoolboy that starred in musicals, only enraged the citizens even more, as the media seemed to be more on the side of protecting the identity of the attacker, as opposed to the side of the innocent kids that lost their lives. Because when they ran the stories of the kids that were attacked, they purposely put up an image of him at the same age as the girls to make him look like another one of the victims. So this sparked several protests from the Enough is Enough movement, where eventually the protests turned into riots as they set fires to police vehicles. And as the police were forced to retreat after being pelted with rocks into their riot shields, the protesters got to a hotel that allegedly housed migrants, and then they also set fire to a trash can outside of it. Then idiots began looting local stores as if this somehow was going to solve their social issues.
To celebrate the Tulsa Shield's opening on October 19th,
Go to the next thing. So that's what's absolutely insane is again, what we talked about earlier, the 2-tier justice system for citizens. They're protecting the identity of the accused, of the bad guy, the guy that stabbed and murdered 3 little girls. And they're like, oh no, show his baby pictures. We got to garner sympathy for immigration. He was a second-generation immigrant too, not even a first. So why would they do that? Why would you do that unless you're just trying to willfully manipulate the narrative? And then you have the Enough is Enough protesters. Yes, they shouldn't have been looting that store, but my goodness, I mean, what do you expect is going to happen when you have a population who is your tax base essentially being whipped to death and being stolen from with their tax dollars to feed and house these immigrants who are coming in, who are committing the vast majority, the lion's share of these crimes? Because they don't share your culture. They don't share your values. It's like, well, of course they don't share your culture. Of course they don't share your values. They hate you. They want to come here and start an Islamic caliphate. They view, I mean, that's the reason they targeted the white girls in the Pakistani grooming gangs. Like, they view them as subservient. They view them as bad and evil. And they're like, yeah, well, we'll just use them as pleasure toys. But yeah, go ahead and you can go back to playing this again.
Oh.
Weapons into the protest. And even in front of the police, they're waving around machetes.
Yeah, this is the Islamic patrol, or the Muslim patrol.
So the police began riding into the British protesters, but it just looks like they're the cavalry riding in front on the side of the counter-protesters, as several British protesters get arrested. They also get beaten and bitten by their police dogs, as the police openly tell the counter-protesters they are there to specifically protect them.
No, we need to help and protect you. We all understand, yeah. Appreciate that, what you're doing, thank you.
But are told
So-
they don't need their protection.
We don't need you, we got ourselves, mate.
My God.
And even when the media accidentally shows them carrying weapons,
Then there was this, as I say, clash between protesters and the police, and that is when they then ran off across the park here. A big group ran off. looking for trouble, it looked like to us. So we're just going to step away now from this group behind us. But
the police liaison just tells them to discard them.
If there's any weapons or anything like that, what I would do is discard them as a mosque.
And how insane is it that the media can literally be on live television warning the citizens about the angry far-right protesters looking for trouble, and then they accidentally catch the counter-protesters walking in black bloc, carrying machetes, and their response isn't, "Oh wait, it looks like you, the viewer, should also be aware of this other threat." They just say, "Cut the camera away. This is contrary to the narrative that we're trying to portray." And the only reason you know the police were actively allowing them to be armed in the streets is because one of them live streamed the police liaison letting it slide. So when the police were questioned about their two-tiered policing,
Are we going to end two-tier policing, sir?
the cop just stole his mic. And when their new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, was asked about it,
what do you say to these accusations about two-tier policing?
There's no two-tier policing. There is policing without fear or favour, exactly as it should be.
But here's Keir back when there were BLM riots in the UK.
To the peaceful protests, to people rightly demanding justice, has been an affront to humanity.
And here's Keir during the current riots in the UK.
Those that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law. The police will be making arrests.
We'll pause
individuals.
Stop it there. So there you have it. I mean, this guy told you the exact same thing I just told you. There's a two-tier justice system. Citizens are getting screwed. Islamic, basically terrorists and mobs are being told, no. You're the good guys. We are going to give you the benefit of the doubt, even though you're carrying machetes, even though you're carrying weapons. The Enough is Enough protesters might have looted a store, but they were not carrying weapons. But again, this is what happens when you disarm a population. Like that. Violence is mandatory
at that point.
I mean, they know that the law is supposed to protect them, but guess what? The law is not protecting them. It's protecting the bad guys. It's protecting the Islamic immigrants who are there to destroy your country. I mean, again, they're carrying machetes in the street, and the news is like, "Oh no, turn the cameras off. We don't want to show that." And there's a video later of a guy pulling up on a bike threatening that journalist, that chick with the helmet on, with a knife.
I know, yeah.
And they didn't even do anything about it.
Yeah,
like
they just cut away and like, oh, we're gonna cut
yeah,
away.
they
from
have
this.
that footage. They could show it, but no, they're like, no. We have to make
They
the
also
the
follow
immigrants
back up with it, and those journalists follow them, and they start slashing people's tires.
Yeah.
So it's wild.
So there you go, guys. I mean, the religion of peace, man. That's what you're looking at. So it's terrifying, and that's coming part and parcel. I mean, we have so many Somali. I mean, you saw the new governor, Tim Walz. Like he had the Somali flag in the background of his gubernatorial speech.
Yep.
Not too long ago. It's like, these people do not share our values. They don't care about this country. They're trying to establish an Islamic caliphate everywhere they go.
If you come to another, I mean, we would never ask that for any other country. It's like, if you go to another country, they expect you to assimilate to their values. Like, if we went to China and said China needs to be more white, they would laugh you out of the country.
Yeah.
Said no other country should be allowing this. Only Western European style countries have to do this for some strange reason. It's very weird.
Yep. All for stupid reasons because of white privilege and past injustices. It's like, look, there is no group that has performed greater injustices and evils in the world than that of Islam.
Yeah. I mean,
If
there's
you know
still
anything about
there's still
history.
slavery going on in Islamic nations, for goodness sake.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to let you know what's going on out there in the world and warn you what's to come if we don't stop this crazy immigration process. I mean, thankfully, a lot of the immigration here is just from South America, but like I said, that's not the case anymore. We have a lot of from Africa. We have a lot from the Middle East, and they're just coming over here unchecked.
Yeah, and China. There's a lot of Chinese immigrants.
These
too.
problems are coming to America if we do not act now.
Yeah.
So
This is invasion through subversion, and what would you call this? Like charity.
1984. What you see with your own eyes are lying to you. What you see with your own eyes are lying. It's like, don't trust your eyes. Trust Big Brother. Trust the government.
And that's the other thing too. Is like I said, that's why Bernie Sanders was so popular. He's like, whenever he was asked back in his during the 2016 when he was still trying to become the Democratic frontrunner, he was like, open borders is a Koch brothers idea because they want the cheap labor.
Yeah.
I mean, What happened to that Bernie Sanders?
Yeah. Now it's, well, Trump wanted to have a closed border, so no Democrat can share that ideology anymore. But that's about all we've got for you today. We just wanted to kind of show you what's going on out there in the world and what problems await us if we don't act now. So that's about all we got for you today. This is the Twins with the Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. God bless you. We'll see you.
See you later, everybody.